It feels like Alejandro Garnacho has his heart set on moving to West London, but it feels like right now Manchester United and Chelsea are quite far apart in terms of valuation.
I mean, it appears as if he is sort of, he loves Chelsea because he's turned down a move to Bayern Munich because he only wants to move to Chelsea, and that's the problem that Manchester United have got, because they value him at around £50 million. Chelsea don't feel that he's worth that, even though I think you could make a pretty good case for the fact that he is worth £50 million, because Madueke has gone for about 50, Gittins has gone for about 50, Alanga's gone for about 50, and Garnacho is an Argentina international. He's only 21 years old. But of course, Chelsea's point of view is this is a guy who's got no future at United. He's been told he can leave, so we're not going to pay over the odds for him. And I think Chelsea feel that they can get him for around £30 million, and they're just biding their time. I'm being told they're in active discussions with United, really good relations between the two clubs. I think the direction of travel is he's going to end up being a Chelsea player.
Napoli are pushing for the loan signing of Rasmus Hojlund, according to Sky in Italy. That's after AC Milan could not convince Hojlund to join them under the terms of the deal on offer. Milan wanted a loan with an option, while Hojlund and United's preference was a permanent deal. I mean, we've got European football expert Andy Brassel in the studio, so it feels like the first question, Andy, is feels like Manchester United feel like Serie A is the place to sell their players.
Yep.
Why is that?
There's no money there, is there?
So why is...
But because it's a good profile of league to reinflate a player's value. And that is exactly the spot that Hojlund's in at the moment. If you look at the players who've come out of difficult times, not just English players who've come out of difficult times in the Premier League to do really well there. Look at Scott McTominay's image now. You know, he's on the Ballon d'Or list. And go before that, you go Lukaku, Smalling, Young. You can go through them all, and they've reignited their careers there. Now, look, I think Hojlund and United, if that is really their view, that they want a permanent deal, well, you know, I'd love a Lamborghini, but it's not going to happen. The fact is that his value has dropped so much over the last 2 years. The best thing for him and for United is to loan him out and get him to a point where he's sellable. At the moment, he is not sellable for anything near what they paid for him. Even if you're taking off the bits for amortisation, it's just not worth their while. I don't see how they can get a reasonable deal for him. Whereas if he goes to Serie A and shows a bit of what we thought he was about, then it's a lot different. And maybe this Lukaku injury opens it up for him.
But then somebody like Anthony has gone to Spain, and he did pretty well at Real Betis last season.
Well, that's an advert for the loan, isn't it?
But no one's coming in and offering big money for him. So it just seems that these players that United are stuck with because of mistakes they've made in the transfer market, they just can't move them on, even when they go out on loan and do pretty well, like Jadon Sancho. You know, he went to Chelsea for the second half of last season, did okay. Chelsea were pretty ambivalent about keeping him, were willing to keep him as long as he took a wage cut. He wasn't willing to take a wage cut, and they said, all right, you know what, not interested.
I mean, straight away, that's the problem there. The answer's in the question, isn't it? The fact
wages.
is, yeah, and this is a problem for every Premier League club. If you've got failing players, where do you put them? I mean, the Saudi Pro League worked for that for a bit, but if they're not going to Saudi, where are they going? Now, maybe the Turkish Super League comes back into the picture later in the window, but I think for the moment, you do have to go out there and prove the players are worth something. I mean, it's been a difficulty. You think of Marcus Rashford, for example. He went out there and did pretty well in the second half of last season for Aston Villa, in a Premier League context as well. But was it? I realise Villa are in a particular situation, but no one in the Premier League looked at that and thought, you know what, we're going to bet the farm on him. There was enough to show there's a player still there, but there's not enough to say we're going to bet everything on him. And I feel that was the case definitely with Sancho when he went to Chelsea and Dortmund. There's enough to say there's still a player there, but is there enough to say there's a game-changing player that we want to invest a lot in, and maybe not? If Hojlund's got a full season to do it, then maybe at least that brings it closer to the mark where United find themselves an acceptable deal.
Sancho's an interesting one because is it basically he is just holding out now for a club that is going to pay his wages? He's not willing to take a pay cut. And are any clubs in Italy going to do that? He's on a ridiculous amount of money at Manchester United.
I think the situation is that because he's on big wages, because he's likely to leave on loan, although I think United would prefer to sell him on a permanent deal. It's one of those things that's going to get done late in the window because clubs know that they can get a better deal out of United regarding the loan fee and also how much of his wages they would have to pay. But the problem United have with Sancho, they don't need me to tell them, is that they bought him for a big fee and also they gave him a big contract. And there aren't any clubs out there who are willing to pay a big fee for him or pay him the kind of wages that he's on at United.
I think Roma could still happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you turn down Roma?
Yeah, why?
You live in Rome.
Yeah.
You play for like an incredible club.
For an attacking coach and Gasperini.
Exactly.
I think there's a lot to recommend it. But look, if it was all about the money for Sancho, he would have taken the deal from Fenerbahce a month and a half ago, and he hasn't done that. So clearly his ambition is to play for what he sees as a big club in Europe and somewhere where he needs to feel love around him. And that's why he's excelled at Dortmund. I wonder if there's a little bit of Dortmund in the background here, because there are people in the dressing room who would love to have him back. I don't think the club are convinced that it's a great deal, but I think from a Dortmund-Sancho perspective, there's something there that won't go away. You know, that's where he first emerged, and he's got a lot of supporters there. Now, whether the club think that that's the right deal and whether they think it's a financially expedient deal is different, but I think that's possibly part of what's holding up the Roma deal reaching completion.
Manchester United may not pursue a summer move to sign 26-year-old Danish international Morten Hojlund from Sporting CP in the summer transfer window. According to a report by Give Me Sport, Morten Hojlund is the subject of interest from Manchester United. The Red Devils are eager to bolster their first-team squad by signing a holding midfielder in the summer transfer window. So, the 26-year-old Sporting CP star has emerged as a target. However, Manchester United may not sign the Dane in the summer transfer window, as they are concerned about their ability to afford a deal for Carlos Baleba next year if they fork out £69 million on the Sporting CP midfielder this summer. So, they have second thoughts about entering negotiations with the Portuguese giants. Morten Hojlund has gone from strength to strength since joining Sporting CP from US Lex in August 2023. The 26-year-old hit the ground running at the Portuguese club, with Ruben Amorim bringing the best out of him. The Manchester United manager also handed the captain's armband to the player during his time at Sporting CP. The Danish international has turned out nearly 100 times thus far for Sporting CP while chipping in with 8 goals and 6 assists. Meanwhile, Hojlund's progress has not gone unnoticed, capturing the attention of several high-profile clubs across Europe. Manchester United may be among the prospective suitors vying for his signature in the summer transfer window. Manchester United's interest in Morten Hojlund is understandable. The Red Devils are scouring the market for a holding midfielder this summer amid uncertainty surrounding Casemiro's long-term future. Additionally, Manuel Ugarte has struggled to make his mark since joining Manchester United from Paris Saint-Germain last summer, while Christian Eriksen is no longer at Old Trafford. So, Carlos Baleba emerged as Manchester United's top target for the holding midfield berth before Brighton and Hove Albion ruled out a summer move. While the Cameroonian international remains a target, albeit for next summer, Hojlund has emerged as an alternative for this year. However, a deal for the 26-year-old Dane may not materialise. Sporting CP will point to Hojlund's release clause of £69 million to part ways with him in the summer transfer window, thus leaving Manchester United concerned. The Red Devils are reluctant to sign the Danish international, as they do not want to block funds for Baleba next year if they fork out £69 million on Hojlund this summer. It will be interesting to see what the future holds for the player. Manchester United appear to have decided which goalkeeper target they wish to prioritise this transfer window. While Andre Onana has struggled between the sticks since arriving at Old Trafford more than 2 seasons ago, backup Altay Bayindir hasn't fared much better. Bayindir faced a barrage of criticism following his costly blunder during the match against Arsenal, effectively costing Man United the game. Yesterday, the People's Person noted that Amorim could not convince United to go all in to sign Martinez, according to new reports. It suddenly appears as if United's decision to refrain from pursuing the World Cup winner more vigorously could be a result of preferring another candidate. Ruben Amorim has failed to convince Manchester United to go big for Aston Villa star Emiliano Martinez, according to a journalist, as Wayne Rooney names the superstar goalkeeper that the Red Devils have to bid for, Team Talk reported this morning. It's clear that while United manager Ruben Amorim has done well to transform his squad this summer, a capable goalkeeper is greatly lacking. Sources have told Team Talk's transfer insider, Dean Jones, that Man United will bid for Sen Lammens of Royal Antwerp. The article continued, suggesting that United prefer Lammens to Martinez. While Lamens is now Man United's #1 alternative to Martinez, the Red Devils could have been able to sign the former Arsenal star had they been willing to meet Villa's demands. The report also clarified United's position on Donnarumma. Journalist Ben Jacobs has said on X that Manchester United are not in for Gianluigi Donnarumma. Former Man United forward Wayne Rooney, though, believes that the Red Devils simply have to try to sign Donnarumma. At just 23 years of age, Lamens has years of peak football ahead of him, which is perhaps the reason why United prefer him over more established options. Still, having only played at Belgian clubs Club Brugge and Royal Antwerp in his senior career, it remains to be seen whether he will be up to the challenge of shining in the Premier League.